Prince Michael Andreas Barclay de Tolly was a Russian field marshal and Minister of War during Napoleon's invasion in 1812 and War of the Sixth Coalition. Early life and family. Barclay de Tolly, a member of the Scottish clan Barclay with roots in Dawe in Aberdeenshire, was born in Pamusis, Courland and Semiglia and raised in Jogevest, Livonia, Russian Empire. The commonly accepted birth date of the 27th of December 1761 is actually the day of his baptism in the Lutheran Church of the town Zymelus. He was a German-speaking descendant of a Scottish family which had settled in Livonia in the 17th century. De Tolly grew up in St. Petersburg and was raised by his aunt, as Gregory Fremont Barnes and Todd Fisher state, who are amongst the world's leading Napoleonic-era scholars. This was a common occurrence amongst the German Protestants, and gave the young man the exposure to upper society unavailable in the Baltic provinces. De Tolly's grandfather served as the mayor of Riga, while his father Bogdan Barclay de Tolly had served in the Russian army before being admitted into the ranks of Russian nobility by the Tsar. De Tolly himself, the future field marshal, entered the Imperial Russian Army at the age of 6, and would spend the rest of his life with the military. Service history. Young Barclay was enlisted in the PSKOV Carabinier Regiment on 13 May 1767, and achieved the rank of a cornet by May 1778. In the same year, he joined the Imperial Jaeger regiments, and joined alongside the rest of his unit the army of Prince Potemkin. In 1788–1789, during the Russo-Turkish War of 1787–1792, Barclay served against the Turks, under the command of Victor Amadeus of Anhalt-Bernburg-Schaumburg-Hoym. During this campaign, he distinguished himself in the taking of Ochakov and Ackerman. In 1789, he was transferred to the Finnish front during the Russo-Swedish War of 1788–1790, and 4 years later, he fought against the Poles. He was a lieutenant colonel by 1794 after serving as aide-de-camp to various senior officers in several campaigns. In that year he was appointed commander of the Estland Jaeger Corps, and 3 years later commander of the 4th Jaeger Regiment, becoming its chief in 1799, soon after being promoted to general major for his service in the Polish campaign of 1794. In the War of 1806 against Napoleon, Barclay took a distinguished part in the Battle of Pultusk and was wounded at the Battle of Eylau, where his conduct won him promotion to the rank of lieutenant general. After a period of convalescence, Barclay returned to the army and in 1808 commanded operations against the Swedes during the Finnish War. In 1809, he successfully marched over the frozen Gulf of Bothnia, which allowed him to surprise the enemy and seize Umeå in Sweden. For this exploit, immortalized by the Russian poet Baratinsky, he was made full general and governor-general of Finland. A year later, he became Minister of War, retaining the post until 1813. Napoleon's invasion. During Napoleon's invasion of Russia in 1812, Barclay assumed the supreme command of the First Army of the West, the largest of the Russian armies facing Napoleon. He used the scorched earth strategy of drawing the enemy deep into one's own territory and retreated to the village of Zaryovo-Zaymashchi between Moscow and Smolensk. Although some consider the strategy merely a confluence of diverse circumstances and not attributable to the will of one man, nevertheless, the Russians keenly opposed the appointment of a foreigner as commander-in-chief. His rivals spread rumors of his being Napoleon's agent, and the populace condemned him as a coward. Barclay was forced by his subordinates and the Tsar to engage Napoleon at Smolensk. Napoleon forced Barclay to retreat when he threatened Barclay's only escape route. After losing the holy city of Smolensk, the outcry of officers and civilians grew to a point where the Tsar could no longer ignore it. He appointed Kutuzov, previously a general at the Battle of Austerlitz, as the overall commander of the Russian forces. Barclay remained general of the First Army of the West. Barclay commanded the right flank at the Battle of Borodino with great valor and presence of mind, and during the celebrated council at Philly, advised Kutuzov to surrender unfortified Moscow to the enemy. His illness made itself known at the time, and he was forced to leave the army soon afterwards. After Napoleon was driven from Russia, the eventual success of Barclay's tactics made him a romantic hero, misunderstood by his contemporaries and rejected by the court. His popularity soared, and his honor was restored by the Tsar. Foreign campaigns. Barclay was re-employed in the field and took part in the German campaign of 1813 and the French campaign of 1814, which ended the War of the Sixth Coalition. After Kutuzov's death, he once again became commander-in-chief of the Russian forces at the Battle of Bautzen, and in this capacity he served at Dresden, Kulm and Leipzig. In the latter battle he commanded a central part of the Allied forces so effectively that the Tsar bestowed upon him the title of Count. Barclay took part in the invasion of France in 1814 and commanded the taking of Paris, receiving the baton of a field marshal in reward. In 1815 he again served as commander-in-chief of the Russian army, which after the 100 Days occupied France, and was created prince at the close of the war. As his health grew worse, he left the military and settled down in his Jogevest manor. Barclay de Tolly died at Insterburg, East Prussia, on the 26th of May 1818 on his way from his Livonian manor to Germany, where he wanted to renew his health. His and his wife Hélène Auguste Eleanor von Smitten's remains were embalmed and put into the mausoleum built to a design by Apollon Shkedron and Vasily Demet Malinovsky in 1832 in Jogevest. A grand statue of him was erected in front of the Kazan Cathedral in St. Petersburg on behest of Emperor Nicholas I. There are also a modern statue in Riga, a full-size bronze-mounted statue by Vladimir Surovtsev in Chernyakovsk, a bust monument in Tartu, and the so-called Barclay's Leaning House in Tartu. After the extinction of the Barclay de Tolly princely line with his son Magnus on the 29th of October 1871, Alexander II allowed the Field Marshal's sister's grandson through female lineage, Alexander von Weimar, to assume the title of Prince Barclay de Tolly Weimar on the 12th of June 1872. Awards and decorations. Order of St. Andrew, Order of St. George. Barclay de Tolly was the second of 4 full Knights of St. George in the history of the order. This includes his contemporary Kutuzov, first class, for the defeat of the French at the Battle of Kulm, the 18th of August 1813, second class Bol Kr, for his part in the Battle of Borodino on the 26th of August 1812, third class in the great reward of bravery and courage rendered in the battle against the French troops on December 14 at Pultusk, where he commanded the vanguard ahead Pravago flank, with a special skill and prudence kept the enemy at all times of battle and overturned Nadezhda. Fourth class, for outstanding courage rendered against the Polish insurgents in the capture of fortifications and by the mountains. Villeneuve, gold sword for bravery with diamonds and laurels with the inscription for the 20th of January 1814. Order of St. Vladimir, first class, second class, fourth class. Order of St. Alexander Nevsky, diamonds added. Order of St. Anna, first class, Golden Cross for taking Ochakov, Cross for the victory of Eylau. Order of the Red Eagle. Order of the Black Eagle, Commander of the Military Order of Maria Theresa. Order of the Sword, First Class. Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor. Honorary Knighthood Cross of the Order of the Bath. Sword with Diamonds. Military William Order, First Class. Military Order of St. Henry, First Class. Order of St. Louis, First Class. Commemoratives and Legacy. The Nesvizhsky 4th Grenadier Regiment was named for the prince in 1880s. He was also the namesake of a short-lived Russian fortress in the Hawaiian Islands. A statue of Barclay de Tolly was erected in 2001 in the Esplanade Gardens in Riga, evoking an earlier 1913 monument that was destroyed during the 20th century, whereas his lineage as a Baltic-Scottish baron had caused him to be derided by Russian historians in the late 19th and throughout the 20th century, in favor of Kutuzov. His image as a leader has undergone a positive reassessment in recent years.